Good day everyone. Today we will be discussing about ethical issues and challenges. And these are my group mates, Monica A. Tabigi, Sinette Marie Sinangote, and yours truly, Curly Jane Talisik. So let's start with the stakeholders of corporate environment. So first, shareholders. A shareholder is a person or institution that has invested money in a corporation in exchange for a share of the ownership. Second, employees. An employee is someone businesses hire and pay for work performed. Employees are classified as people who take direction from other professionals within the company. Employers have a certain level of control over their behaviors, finances, and benefits. Next is customers. A customer is an individual that purchases another company's goods or services. Customers are important because they drive revenues. Without them, businesses cannot continue to exist. Suppliers. A supplier is a person that provides a product or service to another entity. The role of a supplier in a business is to provide high-quality products from a manufacturer at a good price to a distributor or retailer for resale. Governmental agencies. A government or state agency, sometimes an appointed commission, is a permanent or semi-permanent organization in the machinery of government that is responsible for the oversight of specific functions, such as an administration. Creditors. A creditor is an individual that has lent funds to a business and is owed money. Ethical issues 1. Equitable action to every shareholders. It is the duty of the directors to promote shareholders' rights, remove impediments to exercise of shareholders' rights, and recognize lawful mechanisms to seek redress for violations for their rights. Developing ethical cultures. It is very important because companies with stronger cultures tend to have employees who are more engaged and committed. Eliminating conflict of interest, enhancing cross-cultural ethics. Cross-cultural understanding helps people to understand how to listen, what to listen for, and how to interpret what they hear within a much broader framework of comprehensions. By becoming good listeners, people naturally become good communicators. Boosting fraud prevention, aligning risk management to corporate governance. Ethical issues 2. Unbiased relationship with employees. A healthy employee relation reduces the problem of absenteeism at the workplace. Individuals are more serious towards their work and feel like coming to the office daily. They do not take frequent leaves and start enjoying their work. Employees stop complaining against each other and give their best. Appropriate disposition to acquisition and use of intellectual property. Observance of acceptable standards in finance. Application of technology for improving human race. Technology has made it easier to farm, more feasible and build cities, and more convenient to travel, among many other things, effectively linking together all countries on Earth, helping to create globalization and making it easier for economies to grow and for companies to do business. The last one is effective use of acceptable production and assurance technique. Ethical issues 3. Promoting gender equality of work. Achieving gender equality is important for workplaces not only because it is fair and the right thing to do, but because it is also linked to a country's overall economic performance. Workplace gender equality is associated with improved natural productivity and economic growth. Participating in community development. Community participation can be loosely defined as the involvement of people in a community in projects to solve their own problems. People cannot be forced to participate in projects which affect their lives, but should be given in the opportunity where possible. Accepting full responsibilities for its action. Taking responsibility for our actions requires the realization that you play a part in every situation or experience, and therefore have some degree of responsibility over the outcomes or consequences. The last one, prohibition of bribery, means a prohibition or giving, promising to provide any financial or other benefit or advantage in order to induce any person to misuse his or her official duties. Causes of unethical practices. Greed. Greed is the selfish want for more wealth or power than a person actually needs and to the detriment of others. Next is no time, no experience, and breakdown of control. Keeping an accurate inventory, tracking sales numbers, and using email lists and phone numbers to stay in touch with customers are also examples of control that can be used after a purchase to monitor satisfaction and drive future sales. Next is deficient education. And lastly, circle of influence. Circle of influence, ramping up your production capacity, hiring more people, shutting those branches that are unprofitable, or adding more distributors of your product. James Rest model of ethical actions consists of behavior, intention, judgment, and awareness. Rest model describes the process by which an intelligent agent justifies moral behavior, and therefore higher stages are more consistent and responsible. Approaches for handling ethical predicament. So first, utilitarianism, communal acceptation, religiosity, personal virtue, and integrated corporate ethical framework.
Next is utilitarianism. So it is an ethical doctrine based on value of usefulness to all concerned, thereby yielding the highest level of happiness. Thus, it's not focused on the desire of few people in a society. So for example, if you are choosing ice cream for yourself, the utilitarian view is that you should choose the flavor that will give you the most pleasure. Communal acceptation. This approach hinges on the finality of action by a community for a particular purpose, albeit the fundamental goal could be the happiness of a person or few people who use positions as great power influences to induce followers or protege in the direction of self-aggrandizement or minority satisfaction. In short, communal acceptance refers to the acceptance of specific projects at the local level, including affected populations, key local stakeholders, and local authorities. Next is religiosity, the application of doctrines enshrined in a particular religion as the only permissible framework for ascertainment of right and wrong, so it is the quality or state of being religious. For example, one can accept the truthfulness of the Bible but never attend a church or even belong to an organized religion. Religiophilosophy. This highlights a mixture of doctrines of an imbibed religion and the basic beliefs, in addition to principle of a group of people with the aim of obtaining a framework that conciliates both sides of the coin. In short, it is a belief system incorporating religion and philosophy. Next is personal virtue, the practice of evolving individual character to a point of effectiveness by reinforcing one's values with the culture of a community, firm, group, or association. So it is the characteristics valued as promoting collective and individual greatness. So examples for this are honesty, courage, compassion, generosity, fairness, self-control, fidelity, and prudence. Deontology, the generic method of assessing the level of morality which a particular action or activity represents in order to categorize it as right, wrong, permissible, or mandatory. So, it is the ethical theory that uses rules to distinguish right from wrong. For example, do not steal. Stealing is considered as a legal crime, so we are taught not to steal anything or take anybody's thing without asking them. Integrated corporate ethical framework. This involves the development of an inclusive framework that serves as hallmark of value excellence for an organization or association by mixing well-assessed values and principles of immediate operating communities, professional bodies, and global institutional benchmarks. Common rationalizations used to justify unethical conducts. If it's necessary, it's ethical. If it's legal and permissible, it's proper. I was just doing it for you. I'm just fighting fire with fire. It doesn't hurt anyone. It can't be wrong. It is not for myself. It is a fair compensation for I lost. It does not affect my judgment. Before I proceed to the types of white-collar crime, let me just define you of what is a white-collar crime. So white-collar crime is a crime that typically involves stealing money from a company and that is done by people who have important positions in the company. Types of white-collar crime 1. Bank fraud, blackmail, bribery, cellular phone fraud, computer fraud, counterfeiting, credit card fraud, embezzlement, environmental schemes, extortion, forgery, weights and measures. Types of white-collar crime 2. Healthcare fraud, insider trading, insurance fraud, investment schemes, kickback, larceny or theft, money laundering, racketeering, securities fraud, tax evasion, telemarketing fraud, welfare fraud.
Okay, so for now we have a computer fraud. Computer fraud can be defined as the use of a computer to gain unauthorized access to information or perform activities with the explicit goal of gaining material goods at the expense of others through criminal means. So computer fraud is an act involving misuse of computer or data therein so as to illegitimately take over fund, material, or property or valuable thing or to bring about loss. So next is the computer crime. It involves the use of a computer resource for the purpose of illicitly gaining goods or resources or causing harm to another entity. For example, we have the fraud, theft, child pornography, virus, and unauthorized access. Whereas computer fraud is a subset of computer crime involving the use of electronic resources to present fraudulent or misrepresented information as a means of deception. For example, online auction fraud, identity theft, and phishing. Next one is we have the types of computer fraud. We have computer manipulation, computer forgery, and the last one is desktop counterfeiting. So computer manipulation, it refers to the use of manipulation of a computer to perpetrate a crime. Then computer manipulation is a crime are often referred to as computer fraud crimes. So there are three types of computer manipulation. We have input manipulation, the second one is a program manipulation, and the third one is the output manipulation. So input manipulation occurs where false or misleading data are input into a computer to achieve a specific criminal purpose. Like for example, is decreasing the amounts entered into a store inventory database to hide the theft of a product. So next one is the program manipulation. It occurs when data or software in a program is altered to commit or facilitate a crime. For example, the software code known as packet snifers can be added to a program to record valuable information passing across a network such as credit card access numbers. We have third one is the output manipulation. It occurs where data or software is input into a computer in order to affect the computer outputs. For example, we have the using a stolen bank account number to make unauthorized withdrawals from an ATM. The computer forgery. This is illegal alteration of documents in a computer in order to cause misrepresentation, thereby defrauding an entity. So it occurs whenever a computer is used to create a fraudulent document or illegally alter an otherwise legal document. For example, using a computer to create a fake identification badge. So next types of computer fraud is we have the desktop counterfeiting. So it deals with designing and developing counterfeits or modified forms of documents, checks, and certificates by means of desktop publishing skills. So next one is let's have the internet fraud. So it is a form of fraud which uses any component of the internet to accomplish the intended fraudulent activity. So the term internet fraud refers generally to any type of fraud scheme that uses one or more component of the internet, such as chat rooms, email, message boards, or website, to present fraudulent solicitations to prospective victims, to conduct fraudulent transactions, or to transmit the proceeds of fraud to financial institution or to other connected with a scheme. So internet fraud may include spam, scams, spyware, identity theft, phishing, or the internet banking fraud. So credit or debit card fraud is an inclusive term of fraud committed using a payment card such as a credit card or debit card. The purpose may be to obtain goods or services or to make payment to another account which is controlled by a criminal. So second type of internet fraud is the business deceit. It consists of illegal or unethical and deceptive actions committed either by a company or an individual acting in their capacity as an employee of the company. So next is we have the recruitment deceit. It happens when scammers offer fake job opportunities to job seekers. Scammers target job seekers by listing jobs that don't exist. It in the hopes of getting either money or personal data for use in identity theft. Recruitment fraud tends to occur through online services including fake recruitments, emails, fake SIMS text, fake URLs websites, fraud social media accounts, fraud job posts, online recruitment services, and then unsolicited emails claiming to be from well-known organization. Often company employee names and logos are used to try to convey legitimacy. So next one is we have the freight forwarding scam, making a fake site with a name similar from a legitimate company site. While it's possible for companies to have identical names, some of these sites are designed to steal money from the clients who don't know how to distinguish a legit site from the bogus ones. So next one is we have the counterfeit check scam. So it is the fraudster asks you to pay the check into your bank account, and when it clears, to withdraw the excess in cash and send it to them through money transfer agent or to a specified shipping agent. So the check you receive is a fake. So it is printed to look exactly like those that are genuine but has been created and written by a criminal for the purpose of committing fraud. So next is we have advance free fraud, a crime where a person is promised a sum of money, goods to be delivered, or receive a price once certain fees or charges, taxes are paid in advance. One of the well-known examples of this one is the ticket scams. So the seller offers ticket for either a concert, a gig, festival, performance, or sporting event that they do not possess. So the customer pays for the ticket, which never materialize, and as a result, the customer is left without the event tickets at the last moment when they don't arrive, or fake tickets are received that can't be used to access or attend the event. So lastly, we have the non-delivery of goods or service fraud. So criminals promised highly sought after goods, collect payment, then never deliver. Well, the principle is simple. The fraud scheme is often sophisticated, can yield huge profits. So the successful integration of fitting ethical framework into organization, the society at large shall provide the right platform for building effective actions against challenges of unethical practices. So lastly is an exercise. An organization intends to boost its corporate governance through effective ethical practices that appropriate recommendation.
So that's all. Thank you for watching.